It's an intriguing
Hey,
title.
I'm sorry for cutting you, my darling. Hey, everyone. This is your favorite radio host, your only radio host and favorite girl, of course, Corinne Laporte, broadcasting to you from Trinidad and Tobago on Between the Lines. It's a beautiful, beautiful day today. Yes, whether it's overcast, it's about to rain, or it's hot sun, it doesn't matter. In the Caribbean here, we just have two types of weather really. It's either sun or rain, which is pretty good. We don't go through all the different seasons and have to change clothes, have a different wardrobe for every different season and prepare for this and that. No, we don't have that. We don't have that. We wear the same clothes right throughout the year. Right? And the only time we might get a little bit chilly is coming down to the let's see, like we're in October now, so like probably about November, December, it might get a little chilly, getting some winds from the US and those places. So it might get a little chilly. When I was in Jamaica, oh my God, because it's closer to the US, it was much, much colder. And so we used to get all those winds, the cold fronts that we used to have there. And oh my God, it's howling winds and it's very cold in Jamaica at that particular time. So I'm really happy to be here in Trinidad, but I don't get that kind of weather coming to me here. It's warmer in Trinidad. So I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be alive. And I'm happy to have a beautiful woman that's going to be talking to us about some animal stuff. Gorilla Love, Angeline Hart. Yes, from heart to heart. I was just saying to her, oh my God, Heart takes me back to that show. I just love that couple, Heart to Heart. And that show, I mean, that kind of dates me, really. Yeah, for anybody who's listening, I'm not that old. Okay, I'm not that old. I just know good shows. And you all need to know, you all just need to know good shows, family-oriented shows. Okay, that's all. So look it up on YouTube, Heart to Heart, and change all those things that you're watching now that is making no sense. All right. So I have Angeline Hart with me, and we're talking about Gorilla Love. What is that? But before I, but before I go into it, let me tell you a bit about Angeline. Angeline Hart and her husband, Dixon, I'm going to try and pronounce his name, Schwenk. She's going to tell
That's right.
you about that, Schwenk. They are best-selling authors, speakers, and relationship coaches, and their breakthrough Gorilla Love system are the new buzz in the dating and relationship arena. In their best-selling book, Gorillas Make Great Lovers. Is that so? They have identified 12 types of men. Can you really put men in a category? And given each type an animal name. I would love to hear that, based on his focus in life. Some of these types you already know. Shark. Yeah, we know they're sharks. Focus on financial issue. Wolf. Oh, focus on sexual conquest. Using the Gorilla Quiz, a woman can identify the type of any man. And I'm sure she's going to tell us how to get access to that Gorilla Quiz. And I think she's going to be giving away some stuff. So listen to the end of the show to find out more about that. And men can take the guy's Gorilla Quiz to self-identify. Would they be willing to do that? It's a fun system.
Yeah.
It's a fun system that moves people from the meat market mentality of online dating. Instead, women can identify the basic nature of the type of man she really wants. No more Mr. Wrongs. On radio or podcast interviews, Angeline is fun and engaging while sharing stories and insights listeners can use. Definitely. Welcome, Angeline, to Between the Lines.
I'm delighted to be here. And our weather in San Diego sounds like it's very much like yours in the Caribbean.
Well, then you're probably in the Caribbean and you're just saying San Diego. That's all. I just love the way how you're framed right there. I love that. It's really beautiful. I love the whole setting. It's absolutely gorgeous. So Angeline, you're with a lovely man. You were telling me this is your second and final marriage. Is that correct?
That's right.
That's correct. And so I guess it's because of this man in your life, you have learned a couple of things along the way and was able to teach him some things. And he taught you as well.
Yes.
That you have come up with this system of Gorilla Love. Now, in the first place, somebody might ask, why gorillas? Why not cats or dogs or lions or something? Why gorillas in particular?
Well, actually, there is a lion in the system, too.
Oh, there is a lion in there. Okay.
There is a lion, but why gorillas? That's a good question. So I'll tell you the story of how this came about, and then it'll make sense to you. So over the years, I've had since I was 16 and started dating, other women have always been asking me, where are you finding the good men that you're finding? I'm not finding men like you.
Yeah.
And if I break up with someone, they all want to go out with him, which is fine with me because I don't want him anymore. But so I had a girlfriend who'd been married and divorced, and she's very attractive. And she said, I'm dating a lot. I just can't find any good guys. And I said, well, I'll help you. And this was quite a few years ago, back when they used to have singles bars and when people used to smoke. And I said, let's go to a singles bar. And so we did, and we're sitting there in that, kind of dim lighting with smoke around and stuff. And I said, look around. There's lots of men in this room and women. I said, look around and point out someone you're attracted to. Let me see what kind of men you're attracted to. And so she looks around the room, and she pointed out a guy that was about 20 feet away. And Corinne, I literally jerked backwards and said, but I can see he's trouble from here. And she leans forward, peering at him, and she says, well, what do you see?
Yeah.
And it was at that point that I realized that other women truly do not know how to recognize good men from bad men. They're just looking for handsome men. They're just looking for men who look like they have money or sexy, that kind of thing. They don't know how to recognize good men.
So let me stop you there. Let me stop you there for a minute.
Okay.
You recognize something that she didn't. And I love how you put her and yourself in the situation to see what she would pick, and then you can give your opinion on it. So what it is that allows people to see something that the woman in particular is not able to see? Why you're able to see it and she isn't?
Well, I'll back up then, and I'm going to go way back. And I'm going to tell you that I have had a passion for relationships my entire life.
Mm.
And I can remember, Corinne, sitting when I was 8 or 9 years old, and after school we would come home and we would watch TV. And this is back when it was black and white.
Of course, that's the way to go. That's the way to go.
Yeah. All the old classics. I love them. And in the afternoon they would play romantic comedies, and so I was watching Clark Gable and Claudette Colbert and Katharine Hepburn and
of course.
Humphrey Bogart. And,
of course.
And Corinne, I can remember sitting there and I'm watching these closely, and I'm literally thinking at age 8 or 9, what is it that is making their relationship work, or what isn't working?
Mm.
And comparing that to my parents' marriage.
Okay.
I mean, literally, I was analyzing way back then and watching how couples behaved with each other. And I have loved men all my life. My first heart crush, I was in kindergarten, and I can remember being so crushed on this other boy. And so I've just been really into relationships and romance my whole life. It's who I am. So here I am in this singles bar, sitting there with this good friend of mine, and by that time, I can look at a man and tell, unless he's a sociopath when you can't read him, and I can tell who's quality and who isn't. And part of the reason is because I had a really good father. Mm. And so if we become familiar with energy.
Yes.
And my father's energy was good energy. Mm-hmm. And so when I'm around men, if you learn how to read energy, because we subconsciously feel energy, but you can consciously learn to read energy, you are able to recognize the energy of different people. Now, women who unfortunately grew up in a family where the father was abusive, or maybe he was over controlling, or he discounted them or whatever, then the pattern of what's familiar to them is not a healthy, good choice. Mm-hmm. And yet that's the one she'll move toward because it's familiar.
Yes.
It's in her comfort zone, even though she doesn't like it.
Yes, yes.
So I'm blessed in two ways. One is the pattern that I have of a good father, plus my own passion and interest in relationship and men. That combination allowed me to learn how to recognize good men.
Wow.
but I didn't know that other women didn't know that at that time. I wasn't aware of that until my friend pointed out somebody across the room, and I'm like, but I can see he's trouble from here. and she's like, well, what do you see? So I started trying to describe to her how to recognize a good man. And I said, well, he needs to be comfortable in his own skin. And you can read tension at a distance.
Yes.
Yes. So he needs to be comfortable in his own skin, and the people around him need to also feel comfortable and not judged or criticized or in some kind of competition or whatever. And he needs to be masculine, but not macho, not that bragging kind of thing.
Yeah.
And as I was saying this to her, I realized I was talking about my father.
Yes.
And at the same time, I saw an image walking through the jungle of a gorilla. Now I believe, I really believe in spiritual guidance. And I believe I'm smart. I know I'm smart. But I'm not smart enough to have created this whole system on my own.
Yeah.
I think I got spiritual guidance. I think I got help. Because what I knew about that at that point about gorillas was almost nothing. And yet this was the image that came to my mind. And I said, well, it's kind of like a gorilla. And now, since then, I have learned some things about gorillas that I didn't know. For instance, they are not that beating on the chest stuff you see in the movies, unless their tribe is being under attack.
Yes.
Otherwise, they're very mellow. They're vegetarians. They are very supportive leaders of their group. Within the gorilla world, if a female is not happy with the male, she can take her kids and leave and go find it.
I love that world. I love it.
Yeah, so the male gorilla works hard to keep his females happy. He wants to provide good places for them to rest because they're very nomadic. They move around, and he needs to find good sources for them to eat. And he's very much a father to the children.
The men need to do this gorilla test. Please, they need to please. It's very important, life or death. Please do this gorilla test.
well, that's where the whole gorilla idea came up. And gorillas are also very tactile. They're very cuddly.
Yeah.
And I like cuddly, masculine, mellow men. That's what I like. And so when I met my husband, he's not a gorilla. And I was not attracted to him initially, Corrine, which is an important thing for women to know, because we need to quit looking for a certain type.
Oh gosh, help us out, Angeline. You know we have the type, and it's kind of hard to dismiss that, or I wouldn't want to say lower your standards, because it's not a matter of lowering your standards. When you realize that actually the standard that you have was probably lower than what you think is low, and when you get that particular man, you're like, wow, I never liked you in the first place. You're too short. What, you you have a belly. You're bald. You're missing some hair. You're not at my educational level. You don't drive this particular car.
Right.
You don't live in this house. You don't do the things I do. We have nothing in common.
Oh, and that is such a mistake, because all the dating websites and the matchmakers and stuff out there, what they're trying to do is matching up people who have things in common.
Yeah.
Well, it's not having the same culture, or not having the same hobbies, or not having the same goals. It's not that makes a relationship work. I mean, you probably know people who have very similar backgrounds and the same religion and all this kind of stuff, and they're miserable and they're getting divorced and all that, because it's not compatibility of different characteristics that makes a relationship work. The bottom line of what makes a relationship work is how you treat each other.
Yeah.
And so when I met my husband, I was not attracted to him because he wasn't my type.
Right.
But underneath type, what I found is a man who has the values, the qualities, the characteristics that I wanted.
Yes.
And as he got to know me, and he heard me talking to other women about gorillas, he said, but but I'm not a gorilla, am I? And I said, no, you're not. And he said, well, what am I? And I thought about it, and I thought, okay, so this is a man who has been aloof. He dresses very well. Which gorillas don't. Gorillas kind of don't care. And he is really concerned about appearances, as far as he wants his car to be really clean and his environment, and he's very artistic. And I saw, this is inspiration again, this sleek black panther all by himself going through the jungle. And I said, well, let's say you're a panther.
Yeah.
And he said, okay. So then over time, he and I started, because more and more women were asking me, well, what about this gorilla thing? And I found, Corinne, that if I say to a woman, you want to look for a man who's, comfortable in his own skin, who's tactile, he's friendly and all this, somebody kind of like Matt Damon. If I say that.
Oh my God, I love Matt Damon.
So do I, and he's definitely a gorilla. But if I say that to them, they'll go out in the world and look for someone who looks like Matt Damon.
True, because that's what we identify with. That's what we see.
Yes.
The tangible. Yeah.
So if I say, look for a gorilla who has these qualities, then they can put the gorilla qualities on the face of any man. And
why don't they look for a gorilla? Somebody who looks like a gorilla.
So when you've asked several times about the gorilla quiz. So what happens is this. Women can take the quiz. It's free. It's on my website. It's at www.gorillalove.com. And they're actually going to see that there are 3 different quizzes that they're available for them. One is the gorilla quiz for women to take about any man. So she could take it about her ex-husband, her current husband, her father, her son, anybody.
Hold on. While you're talking about it, I want to get to it. While you're talking about it. So where do we go to take the quiz?
So right here in the middle of the page, underneath where it says Power Couple, it says Take the Gorilla Quiz.
Yeah, so I'm going to click on it if I can. My mouse is doing its own thing here.
Okay, so yeah, you click there to take the Gorilla Quiz. And it's going to show 3 choices. One is a quiz for women to take. And one is so scroll down a little bit.
Hold on, let me see if I can do that, because I tell you my mouse is acting up.
Okay, so the top one there is for women to take. See, it says for women. Click the above button to take the gorilla quiz to determine the manimal type of any man. But what was happening is women would take the quiz and they'd go and they'd talk to their man and they'd say, oh, I took this quiz all about you and I found out that you are a combination of shark and gorilla and lion. And he's like, what? I don't know about that. So then the men were trying to take the gorilla quiz, but it's all focused toward women, the kind of questions or things that women would ask. So I created a second quiz, the guys gorilla quiz, so that men can take a quiz and self-identify and find out which type they believe they are, which creates a really fun activity for couples to do, because she takes the quiz and says, okay, so honey, I see you as rhino and gorilla and shark and a little bit of panda. And he says, well, I see myself this way. And so now they talk about it and they say, oh, well, why do you see me this way? And why do I see myself that way? And so it helps them deepen their understanding of each other to be able to talk about it.
Nice. And I see you have the maturity quiz. Are you think people are ready for that?
Yes, and I'll tell you why. Because there's 12 types of men, and 2 of them you don't want, and I'll tell you which 2 those are in a minute. But the other 10 can either be emotionally mature or emotionally immature and narcissistic and self-centered, and they all listen and they don't share.
Yeah, I know those very well. I know those very well.
So we'll take, for example, let's say that a woman takes the quiz and finds out that the type that she likes the best, or the characteristics or the values that she likes the best, are shark. So this is a man who's focused on financial success. Now, and a lot of women want the kind of lifestyle that man can provide. However, if he is emotionally immature, because you can take the quiz, the maturity quiz about him, if he is emotionally immature, he's selfish and greedy and maybe willing to not tell the truth to be able to win on a deal, and maybe he's unwilling to share with her, and and things like that. Versus he could be somebody like Bill Gates, who is fabulously wealthy, but very much willing to share with other people, and he's provides a lot of money to try to make the world be a happier world.
Yeah.
So you want to take both, actually. When you think you found someone that you really like, you want to take maturity quiz to double check. And here's the other thing that happens for me. When I'm working with women, I actually coaching with them individually. I have them take a quiz, and we actually go through and take the gorilla quiz about every significant man in her life, starting with her father, her first boyfriend, all of them. And then we look for patterns, and we start seeing, for instance, what's showing up. And the two types you don't want are crab and rat.
They don't sound pretty.
They're not good. And if we're seeing a whole lot of crab and rat in the minute that she's all her life, and we go back and look at her father, and what do you know, crab and rat right there.
Right.
And so then we know she has a negative pattern, and she needs to be able to change that pattern, or she'll keep being attracted to what's familiar. So I help her learn how to recognize and become familiar with healthy men.
But a lot of us women, I mean, I'm a woman and you're a woman, I'm talking to women, we recognize that we're attracting the same kind of person and we're not having long-lasting relationships. And, the goals that we have for ourselves in a relationship are not panning out. So even without it, we may see that, but we just may not know what is causing it. So the gorilla quiz can help to identify that. But you talked initially about spirituality, and I'm also a spiritual person, and energy, which is very important because we are energy beings, right?
Yes.
So we know this, we not accept it or recognize, but we feel, and feeling is energy. And when something is wrong, some of us don't take on and take heed to when we get those signals and feelings. So I'm thinking to myself, because I've read and studied and experienced it, when we are attracting the same kind of persons in our lives, it's really a projection of who we are onto that person, a mirroring. And if we really don't want to have that type of person coming back into our life, we need to take a couple steps back and look within ourselves. It is really unhealed. It is really things within ourselves that we are attracting, as within, so without. So it is really that we are attracting ourselves. We are attracting people like ourselves. And if we don't want that, we really need to work on ourselves. And this is not only for women, it's also for men as well. We need to work on ourselves and just stop doing the relationship thing and say, I am noticing this, and this. And I need to do something about it. So there must be something within me, because you're the common denominator with all the relationships.
Yes.
You're the common denominator. So
yes.
you can't blame John, you can't blame Harry, you can't blame Sean, you are the common denominator. A lot of us don't want to recognize that we are responsible for who we attract. It is you. It's easy to blame somebody else. John wanted to be like that. Sean did to me. That whatever did to me. Really, you don't even realize that you're saying to me, you are the common denominator. And so you need to take responsibility for who you are attracting, what you are, and work on yourself. So even when you recognize through the gorilla quiz, the common things, the traits that keep repeating itself, it is really to come back to you. It is really to come back to you, to work on you. So my question to you, you help persons in that regard to come back to themselves and even accept that they are the ones. It's not a matter of blaming or shaming or anything like that, but really to accept that the issue is right within you. Like you said, you go back to the family parents and and stuff like that, or in their family. Do you really use that information to help persons to go back within themselves to heal whatever it is, so that they can attract now the right person into their lives?
Yes, there's multiple layers to it. So partly it's projection, partly it's what they're familiar with. It's partly what they think they are worth, or what they see their own value.
Yes.
And so it's partly about learning that there are good men out there, because some women keep having these negative experiences and they start believing that all men are jerks. Because that's what they keep attracting because of themselves, their own self-value. And so once we've kind of determined where her negative patterns are, then we start working on things like setting boundaries.
Oh my God, the boundaries. I never had any, but look here, Angeline, I have some strong boundaries. They're stiffer than the Great Wall of China, I'm telling you. I am telling you, they are so built, you cannot penetrate the damn wall, I'm telling you. I have realized after going through, some recent relationship situations, I have built some walls, some fences with electrocution.
Wow. Okay.
You cannot, and I make sure I tell them up front, don't even go there. Don't even.
That's good, because what your boundaries are is a statement of what your values are, what you believe you're worth, and what you believe how you want your life to be. And so we set boundaries. We speak our boundaries into existence. We say, this is what I want, this is what I'll accept. But then we manage our boundaries by our behavior.
Yes.
So, for instance, if women are in a relationship with a man who is verbally abusive, and she says, well, I keep setting my boundaries. I keep saying to him, stop it. Don't talk to me like that.
Right.
And I say to them, but do you stay in the same room with him while he's talking to you like that? Then you're telling him that you're enabling him, and it's okay. He can keep talking that way.
Of course.
Instead, you need to manage that boundary. You say, stop, don't talk to me like that. You need to speak to me respectfully.
Mm-hmm.
And if he doesn't, you say, I'm sorry, but I don't allow myself to be talked to like that. So I'm leaving. I'm going out the other room, or I'm going to go in the car and go for a ride or whatever. You can text me when you're ready to talk to me more respectfully, and I'll come back.
Mm-hmm.
But you manage your boundaries by your behavior.
Yes, yes, yes. I love that. I am definitely going to do the gorilla quiz. No, it's fun. And I think, you know what ran through my mind, Angeline, that it's a fun activity to do, you know, like when you're hanging out with your friends, you know, you may be hosting a little party. It could turn out to be sour in the end and turn to argument, but it you know, I'm thinking positively about it because it, you know, it's a fun activity to do, and you may learn about yourself, and it may actually encourage discussions, you know, just like persons bringing up about a relationship. I say, oh my God, I didn't realize that about myself, or I'm now seeing that this is who I have been attracting, and that's interesting. And you know, it may start up some conversations that you never had before. And so I think it's a nice little activity.
Well, what's fun about it is once you get familiar with it, you start recognizing the different manimal behaviors around all around you. Mm-hmm. And like my husband and I will be around a group of young children, maybe at church or whatever, and I'll see some little kid and he goes over and he just hugs this little girl, and I'll say to my husband, baby gorilla. Or you see some kid who's all into well, my grandson, oh my goodness, he's such a riot. He has so much shark in him. He so wants to make money. He's so fascinated by it. And he's got this shark energy. Or you see another aspect of my grandson is he's very, very kind, and he wants to help other people. And so that's lion, good works energy. And so you start noticing it around you and recognizing it. It makes it so much easier to read other people, particularly men, and understand what their basic values are.
But you have opposing, let's call it, personalities. So you mentioned shark, you mentioned a gorilla, you know, you mentioned other different types of animal categories. Are there opposing traits or personalities that could create an individual that is, you know, I'm trying to frame the question. In other words, they're not complementary to create a harmonious person that you can be with. You may have such opposing traits that it is not healthy. The person ends up not being a healthy individual.
Okay, so there are in the first place, what you're asking is, are there kind of matching? Should certain kind of woman be with a shark and another kind of woman be with a rhino or whatever?
Not necessarily. Let's say you notice in your grandson that he's a shark. He wants to make money, but then he has a kind spirit. So I'm thinking to myself, there are men who are driven, or even women driven by money at the sacrifice of everything. So for him to have that same kind-heartedness, but yet he's driven by money, that's kind of like opposing somewhat to me. Could somebody be still kind and be driven by money?
Well, I mentioned Bill Gates earlier.
I know, I remember that. You know, is it possible? Is it possible to balance that? Could one overtake the other? Is it a bad or good thing? You know, how can you recognize these different traits in somebody and say, you know, I met him, I fell in love with him because he's a driven person. It's not only a matter of money, but he doesn't give up. He puts his mind to something, and I love that about him.
So now you're talking about emotional maturity.
Well, I guess so. You know, but yet you may see something in him that may look like it may be dangerous, but you say that's what I really respect about him. He motivates me to be better. He's you know, he pushes.
Yes.
You know, but there may be another side to him that you feel, I'm not
Yeah.
willing to sacrifice myself being with him, because while he may be a driven, focused, determined person, which is good qualities, he's not kind to people.
Yes.
He doesn't show respect to me. So I'm
Yes.
wondering if you see how do you manage that?
So you want to take the maturity quiz so that you can recognize that he's immature in some ways, or he's emotionally self-centered, or when you take the quiz, the original gorilla quiz, you'll also see how much crab, which are men who are critical, who are finding flaws, or rat, men who are blaming others for their results. And so you'll see how much of those two qualities are in there. And those two qualities, what they are is defense mechanisms.
Narcissistic. They're narcissistic. They're narcissistic, I think. Blaming
Yes.
others for their results. Yeah, they don't take responsibility for anything.
Right. And so those two, rat and crab, are actually not the person, the man who's really there. Underneath that is his true manimal type. For example, I have a friend who married a man who was critical and harsh and judgmental and quick to find fault. And when she wanted, it's actually one of my daughters, when she wanted to marry him, she came to us and she was 19 years old.
Wow.
And she said, I want to marry Mark. And I said, ooh, I have some reservations about that. Do you want to hear them? Now, in my family, once you're 18 and you're on your own, you own your own life. And I don't automatically, even though I'm their mother, get to just tell them everything that I think about how they should live their life. And instead, I ask permission. And so that's why I said to her, do you want some feedback from me? And she said, no, I don't. So I didn't say anything else.
Yeah.
3 days later, she came back and she said, I'm ready to hear your thoughts now. I told her, I'm really concerned about him. You are a very compliant, sweet, gentle person who wants to please others, and I'm afraid he's going to squash you.
Yes.
And if you have children with him, it's going to be hard on their self-esteem to be around someone who's so critical and negative. And she said, well, he and I have talked about that. He acknowledges that he has that problem, and he's committed to changing.
Okay.
This is before they got married. And so I said, and she said to me, because she's spiritual too, she said, Mom, I've prayed about it, and this is who I think I should marry. And I said, okay, then we will do everything we can to support that marriage. We will not, backstab you or do things under the table or whatever. We'll be supportive. A few days later, Mark came to us and he said, I want to ask permission to marry Kitty. And I said, Mark, are you aware we have reservations? And he said, yes. And I said, are you willing to talk about them? And he said, yes. Now, by now you can tell I'm a straight talker.
Yeah.
And, I told him my reservations, and he said, I do know those things about myself. I am working on it. I will change. And I love your daughter, and I'll take good care of her. And I said, okay. And I told him the same promise. We'll do everything we can to support this relationship. So they got married. They had a beautiful wedding. And they lived just down the street from us. They rented an apartment. And over the next few years, we saw them a lot for dinner and things like that. And after they'd been together maybe 3 years, we were over at their house one day. And Dixon and Mark got into an argument. And Mark got really mad, and he said, get out of my house. Don't ever come back. I don't want to see you again. You're not welcome in my home. And sent us to go out the door. And Dixon stormed out. He was really mad. He was upset. Mark turned back around to me, and he said, I said, get out of my house. And I said to him, I told you I would do everything I could to make this relationship work. If I leave now, there's a big rift in the family. I'm not leaving until we get this settled. And he and I sat down and talked for half an hour till he was calm. And I said, now Dixon's out there in the car. He's steaming and upset. You need to go get him back. So he went out and got him back. Well, Kitty and Mark have been married 24 years now.
Wow.
They have struggled. It was not easy.
Yeah.
Mark has worked and worked and worked on himself. His kids went through periods where it did hurt their self-esteem.
Yeah.
There was a time when Kitty called me crying, and she said, I don't know what I'm going to do, Mom. he keeps doing, you know, being critical or whatever. And I said, Kitty, you are speaking your boundary. You're not managing your boundary. You keep allowing him to act like that. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to pack 3 days worth of clothes for you and the kids, get in the car, drive to my brother's place. He has a bed and breakfast. He'll be happy to have you. Leave Mark a nice note explaining you're not leaving him, but you're setting a boundary.
Yes.
So she did. And when Mark got home and he saw the note, he followed her, and they went and they spent 3 days at my brother's place, talking and working things out. And over the years, it got gradually a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better, but it was a struggle.
Yes.
Here's the thing. Kitty loved him the whole time. She knew that he loved her. Kitty, my daughter, is a very serious person. She's the oldest child. She's stereotypical, you know, do everything right, buy the book and all that kind of stuff. Underneath Mark's defense mechanism of being a crab is a playful panda. Exactly the kind of person that my serious daughter needed for balance.
Yes.
So what has happened over the years is his playful side is coming out more and more. He's learning to control the negative side.
Yes.
And my daughter has learned to be strong and stand up for herself.
Yes.
She's now a successful realtor, which requires that she be able to negotiate.
Yes.
And she's very good at it. She has learned that strength and developed that strength because she's in a relationship with a man who's very challenging.
Wow.
Now, I'm not in love with Mark. I couldn't have done it. I do love him. I respect him and I love him as a son-in-law. But I wasn't in love with him, and so I could not have put up with the struggle.
Right. But you were the glue. But you were the glue, and you stood up. You set a boundary that from the time it started, you lived on a boundary, and you had made a commitment, and you reminded him, this is what you said that you were committed, and he agreed with you at the time prior to being married. So the fact that you stood up and said, remember this?
Yes.
Remember this?
And over the years, when I go to visit them, and it's time for me to leave, and Mark's going to drive me back to the airport, I would say to him, Mark, would you like feedback? I'm a straight talker. I just really am. Yeah. But I asked permission. You know, I said, would you like feedback?
I'm going to use that. Would you like feedback?
Yes.
Yes, you asked permission. Would you like feedback? I love that. I think, you know, that's a great tip to round up the show. You ask permission, because we assume people want feedback and we start belching out, you know, advice, and nobody asked. Nobody asked.
And when we just give advice without asking, then we are rolling over other people's boundaries, their natural right to be able to run their own life.
True.
And that's not okay. That does not build trust when you trespass boundaries.
True.
And so Mark trusts me. Mark trusts me that I will be honest. And he trusts me that I will be fair. And he trusts me that I will be open and that I will respect him and his boundaries.
I love that.
So he feels safe to share with me. And so when he's driving me to the airport and I say, would you like feedback? And he'll say, yeah, okay, I'm ready. And I'll say to him, well, I noticed this time when you jumped at Kitty. I noticed this time when you're too quick to criticize Nikki. I noticed this. And he'll say, yeah, I heard it when it came out of my mouth. Yeah, I did. I'm working on that. Yeah. And the last time that I was up there, Mark and his son, who's just now started college, had quite a struggle over the years because of Mark's need to control. And I said to Mark, you and Trevor seem to be getting along a lot better. I said, is there a change? And he said, oh, yeah. And I said, okay, well, what's the change that you see? And he said, I finally learned that I can't control him. I need to help him be who he wants to be. Well, that's huge.
That is very huge. And I'm listening to you and I'm linking it, of course, to narcissism. And I want to ask you a question. So
okay.
Do you think that persons who are narcissistic, you know, on the full spectrum can change? Do you think, you know, because it has been made to believe that they can't because of the trauma that they probably would have been through, whether nature or nurture. Some of them even enjoy, some of them who recognize or know that they are narcissistic, or some of them don't know because that is all they know. But for those who are aware of themselves, some of them enjoy the fact that they have that sort of power, or they feel they have a power of controlling and manipulating others. But, you know, it's a very tiring condition. I'm sure you're aware. And
Yes.
when I think about it, I mean, because I've been through it, I am thinking to myself, my God, now I know why you're tired. You have to, you, you know, it is so abnormal to be trying to find a primary source, train a primary source, you have your secondary sources, then you have your coterie of people, then you have your network, then you have to devalue, put them through the different phases of idealization, the value and discard. You have to remember who you have in what phase. What did you last say to this one? I am like, what the hell kind of a life is that? When
Yes.
you can just be your true self to anybody, it is just so damn freaking tiring to be a narcissist. And then the worst part, well, I don't even know if it's the worst part. The next part of it is that you don't even know how to love. You have no regret. You have no remorse. You feel nothing except supply, which is I get my ego fed. You make me feel good. It's all about me, you know. And I'm like, really? You really want to be living like this? And you think that is all good because it's all about you. And then when people leave you, because after a while, this network of yours pick up, they mightn't know what you are because they're not aware, but they know something is damn well wrong. And when they leave you, you're alone. Nobody you have no friends. You have nobody. People love you because they realize that you lack in love. They love you. They want to love you. You find great people who love you genuinely, but you can't love them back because you don't know how to. You just know to control. And I just find it not only sickening, but sad. You know, I've moved from the point of the sick to sad because
Yes.
you're such a fabulous human being. When I say a human being, a fabulous species. You're such a fine species. You're intelligent. You're good looking. You have potential. You're well spoken. You carry yourself well. You know, you're the ideal, of course, because that's how you see them. They're ideal. They're the man of your dreams. You're like, oh my God, you're a soulmate. Oh my God, you're so juicy. And to find out that this is how you treat people, this is what you do. And I mean, come on. So I'm thinking to myself, is there a way? Could they actually change?
Okay. Okay. So first of all, I want to clarify that you actually talked about two different types there.
Okay.
Someone who is narcissistic, another definition for that means damaged child.
Yes.
So they are constantly trying to find a way to take care of themselves because they don't have faith that anybody else is going to take care of them because it didn't happen when they were young. But you also said someone who has no feelings, no remorse, no connection. That's going beyond narcissistic into a sociopath. A sociopath does not have empathy.
I've dealt with that one. I've dealt with the sociopath, psychopath. Look here, any kind of path. I've dealt with it.
So
the ones that drive you to suicide, suicidal thoughts, and they're fine. They're fine. They just damage you, take you to a place where you're so below, you're in a dark, deep place, and it's hard to get out.
So if they are a sociopath, meaning they have no empathy, no feelings for other people, and no remorse for their behavior, in fact, maybe they're a rat and they're blaming you for their behavior, and the prisons are full of rats who say, I didn't do it, and if I did do it, she made me do it because she didn't have dinner ready on time, and that's why I beat her up.
Yeah.
You know, it's, you know, so that kind of behavior is really, really, really hard to change.
Yeah.
Now, a narcissist, my husband was narcissistic when I met him. And he came from a dysfunctional, abusive childhood.
Yeah.
And so he was hurt. And so he was constantly, it's like a person who's hungry and they're trying to get some nourishment, some food, some whatever, because they didn't receive the nurturing they should have had when they were children.
Yeah.
Well, he has decidedly changed.
I like how you say that. Decided is a decision.
It's a decision, and he worked on it, and he understood, like Mark, he understood he had a challenge and a problem. We've done numerous different kinds of workshops. But what happens with someone who has this damaged childhood, but they're not so far that they're a sociopath, they're in pain. And if he does something that's narcissistic and I respond by hitting back at him and being cruel to him and critical to him, it does not allow him the safety that he needs to be able to grow.
Yeah.
And so it happens that I'm a very nurturing, I'm a straight talker, but I'm kind and I'm diplomatic about the things that I say. And so when I run into problems with his narcissism in the past, I mean, it's gone now. It's that over the 25 years that we've been married, when I would bump into problems, I would be kind and understanding and work with him. And if you can provide that kind of nurturing environment with setting boundaries, you cannot enable them to trespass your boundaries. You got to stand up for yourself.
But the sociopath,
I'd say stay away.
Stay away. Yeah, but it's hard. You know, it's hard for me because I'm an empathic person and I am nurturing, just like with you. And, you know, when I think about the condition and the experiences I've gone through, I have nothing but love to give, Angeline.
Yes.
I cannot give hate. It is not in my DNA. As much as the person may put me through pain, I withstand the pain. And they see. The thing with a sociopathic narcissist is that they see that I withstand the pain, and they love people like me because they love to know that they can beat up on you, do you all sorts of things physically, mentally, emotionally, and see that you could still withstand it, and they could dish out more. But I stand up because of my inner strength, spirituality, and all of that. I mean, and I'm sure there's much more because of my makeup. But I just cannot, you know, when I sit back and I think about it, I could hate. And yes, you go through that initially and you hate and you go through that emotional until you realize, oh my God, this person is really damaged.
Yes.
And it's not that they were born, they were not born that way.
Right.
So somebody did this to them, their parents, their mother, whatever, did that to them.
Yes.
And so they didn't have a choice. And then society created, help to support that as well.
Yes.
So you look at them, you start looking at them through a different filter, and you're like, I have to give you love because you need it. Even though you may not recognize it, you may not accept it, you may resist it, you may come back at me with venom. It's okay.
But you can give a person love and not allow them to be in your life.
Yeah, you do it from a distance, clearly. Because you do it from a distance. You have to do it from a distance. And you let them know that you love them and that you're here if they want to talk. You know, you keep that door open, but open, you know, but still have your boundaries.
Yes.
So know that, you know what they are. They know what you are. But you have to, you know, it's hard for me. After going through this several times and attracting these people in my life, as I said to you, I know this from experience. And I know unhealed wounds. And this is why I said you have to go back deep within yourself. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And you know, you have discovered that the reason these people come into your life is to teach you a lesson.
Yes.
They're teaching you. So while you might be going through it and thinking, oh my God, it's the worst and I'm dying and whatever, you have to sit back and observe and say, what is the lesson? I had an interview with somebody just before yours, and it's the same thing. What's the lesson to be learned?
Yes.
It is teaching me something, and this situation and this person, this circumstance has happened in my life for me to learn something about me.
Yes.
And so you need to go deep within. It's not about them. Forget them. It's about you. And we need to start focusing on ourselves, us, me, you, as opposed to them, you know.
Yes.
And use them as a tool to help you to learn. So while you may be cussing them and want them dead and, you know, you want to murder them and all sorts of things, you really, that's not going to help you in the end. It's not going to help you. As much as you want to bury them in the backyard and the front yard and the side yard, you know, you really need to look within. So I am thankful for the experience because it helped me to love myself more, and I'm still on that journey because it has to start with you. You know, you attract who you are, and if you're attracting the wrong people, it means to say you don't love yourself enough.
That's right. That's right. Because you allow them to abuse you.
Yeah, you're giving permission. You're giving them the permission to do so without you realizing or accepting that is exactly what you're doing. And
that's right.
If you start taking responsibility for that, I'm sure things will start turning around in your life.
Yes. Yes.
I am definitely going to do that gorilla quiz.
Well, do the quiz and then get the book and read the book.
Yeah.
Because it talks about the 12 types of men. Oh, and anybody who does the quiz, then I'll send them an email with a link so that they can download my ebook about the 12 types of men.
Oh, nice.
So that's a gift. And then if they buy the book, the first chapter of the book is about the 12 types of men, but the rest of the book is all about things like how to set healthy boundaries, how to build trust and who to trust or not trust, and some communication skills and examples of different people and how they've used these tools to be able to build a happy life. Yeah. So it can be very helpful.
Yeah, and it's such a great time. It's a great time coming to the end of the year. It's a great gift to give somebody. Give a damn gift to yourself, right? Yeah. Yes, there we go. Give a gift to yourself, people, especially the women and men, because men are vulnerable too. Not because they're men, they're macho and they know how to figure out everything. We are all vulnerable. We are human beings, blood runs through our veins, and we have feelings. So, you know, give a gift to yourself before the end of the year. And, you know, use the time. We're in what, October, you know, almost the middle of October. You have October, November, December, and say to yourself, come on, by the beginning, you know, of what, 2019, we're starting fresh. We know who we are. So take the time between now and December to work on you. And just say, hell, I'm a new person in 2019. So instead of talking about losing weight and making more money and all those different things, you'll be surprised that when you start loving yourself between now, if you haven't before, between now and December, the money is going to come. The house is going to come because now you start loving you. It's about you. You know, people used to put down this thing, oh, it's all about you. Yes, it's all about you. Yes. Don't make anybody make you feel like something is wrong when it's all about you. Yes, damn it, it's all about you. It's all about me.
Yes.
So I love it. Thank you so much, Angeline Hart from Heart to Heart. Yeah, for sharing Gorilla Love.
Well, thank you for having me on your show. I mean, my mission truly is to help heal the world one relationship at a time. And so any of your listeners who've been able to get some new ideas about how to have a happier relationship, yay, I'm thrilled for them. And the world is going to be healthier because of it.
Oh, yes. One at a time. One at a time. We're not looking to try and change everybody at the same time. One at a time.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Angeline Hart. Kiss your handsome husband for me. Tell him it's from me.
I'll do that.
And I had such a great time talking with you and sharing. And I mean, even being vulnerable myself, sharing, because I do this too, because, you know, you don't know what people may be going through. And I am not the type of person to just be on my show and not share my personal victories and my personal challenges, because it will resonate with somebody out there, whether today,
That's right.
And they will say, oh my God, I wish if I had heard this show before. Now that I'm hearing it, it came at the right time.
Yes.
And they can find you or find me to be able to help them. And that's all it is about. That's
wonderful. Wonderful.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me on your show.